Good evening, yogis, live from the Happiness Yoga Studio, and missing you all so much. We're going to do our deep stretch class tonight. So if you're at home and you're ready to go, grab a wall, grab a towel to be a supplement for a knee pad, and we'll take a hamstring stretch. If you've got some kind of belt around the house, it would be great. So I'm using a yoga strap, but you can use a belt, you can use a towel if it's nice and long. Because hamstring stretches always feel amazing, and getting the legs out of gravity and bringing that little quality of inversion in is really nice. Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind on that. We can even use the wall here. If you don't have a towel, don't have a belt at home, I'm going to give you a variation of a stretch that uses the wall to stretch your hamstrings, but also works you into the inner thighs. There are so many fabulous stretches you can do, and that's why I am always like, an hour isn't long enough. But for the next hour, can you turn off the phone? Can you tell the kids, leave mummy, leave daddy for a little while, and come and give this time to yourself? This isn't a yoga class in that we look more at the physical body and less about some of the mental stuff. But the great thing about stretching is it reduces mental stress simply by taking the stress out of the physical body, because the two are so intimately connected. We can create a sense of ease and peace in one by working with the other. I say that, and then I say, let's do couch stretch. I know that you all are like, no, but that's why we come together and do the practice, because let's face it, some of us are very good and we'll do it all by ourselves, and some of us need the encouragement of knowing that we're connected and that we're practicing as a team. That's me today. So come on over and bring yourself up against the wall. And we'll pop the left knee on the wall. How are we doing for time? It's bang on time. Perfect. So pop the left knee up against the wall. Bring the right leg up. And we're going to settle up against that wall. So we're going to work with activating the muscles on this one. We're going to work with pushing the right hip back towards the wall and pressing forward through the left hip and working into those quad hip flexors. I'm going to use a timer here, this new funky technology I've invested in now that I can't use my phone since it's too busy bringing me to you where you are in your house. So we'll start the timer, we'll come up right, and then, and this is one of the beautiful things about stretching, once you're there, you simply have to arrive and begin to let go of everything else. We're going to begin to let go of the day. Think of the breath. Just slowly decompressing whatever happened in your world today. Let's begin to breathe it out. And one of the sayings that we have in yoga is that we hold our issues in our tissues. And it's so true. If we've had a stressful day, and there are so many people experiencing stressful times in these moments, then you might be feeling it as a tension in your shoulders, or a pulling on your back, or a tightening in the back of the hamstrings. I'm taking this time out to declutter the mind by using the breath to slowly release any of the thoughts that have come in, and taking the time to decompress the body, to bring the space and length back into the muscles. It's a really nourishing way just to reduce all of that tension and bring you back to that neutral state. So we come back into center. We come back into that space where we're grounded and we can reconnect with our inner resources, our strength, our resilience, our patience and our fortitude. And those are going to be tools of such immense value in the times to come. Can you breathe? And can you just work and release the breath out? Begin to ground you in. Not quite there yet. So if you're noticing a tensing in the eyes, you're noticing a gripping in the brow, and you're noticing that the shoulders are holding tight and riding up. Can you bring softness to any of these spaces? Great, as we come down now. So we're going to walk the foot out, nice and long. And we'll come into a space where we're not taking the knee over the ankle. down by the side. And then we elongate the back here. We're not going to dump the belly down. We're going to keep a gentle drawing in of the belly. And tomorrow we have a 6 to 7 a.m. energizing flow. And in that, we'll probably talk a little bit about Bunda's energy locks. But here I want you to think about it as a gentle drawing in of the navel. We're just going to keep some support for the low spine. With the exhale, begin to drop you to the earth. So there's a natural downwards movement of energy on the exhalation, even though in effect in the physical form of the body, the diaphragm's actually moving up. But somehow there's such a settling. You think about it, so when we sit down, so we exhale, get home after a day on our feet, we sit down, we're like, we ground our energy. That's such a beautiful portal to bring us into here and now, out of the past, the day that we've had, those moments of tension, and out of the future where anxiety lives, where we have to constantly be cycling through planning. Just come into here, come into now, use the exhale as that invitation again and again. Each breath is a new welcoming back to the moment. A little bit longer. As we hold the pose, it's more opportunity for the body to get familiar and comfortable with position. And the body feels safe to move further. And safety and security are so important. We have that sense of being grounded and that sense of stability and more comfortable to move forward. That's a physical as well as a mental and energetic thing. Alright, let's bring it down, take the foot out to the side. We'll bring the elbows to the floor or onto a block or onto a pillow or onto a stack of books. And we'll turn the toes out to the side and we'll roll to the outside of the leg. Then again, a little gathering of the navel and visualizing, even though you can't see here, but in your back body, lengthening out of those muscles that run either side of your spine. Let the shoulder blades gather down the back and release the neck. Potentially you've been holding that neck down all day or forcing the chin up as you effort through. So you can bring the neck into a neutral position. Right, then exhale. Don't worry, notice that I'm watching the time, so you can just let go. You can even close down your eyes here. Work with breath. Find a smile. I want to put on some nice music in the background. It's always lovely. Light some candles. Have a little night in with yourself. We often do so many things for the people around us, but forget to do these little kind gestures for the self. Breathe with it. This may not feel so kind in this moment, but I promise by the end of the class, and it's always what happens, that miracle of release, when you step off the mat, there's been a shifting and a change. We just have to breathe through those moments where we feel the tension, those moments of discomfort, and then there's always that benefit at the end. Sometimes the joy in things is in not doing them anymore, which is going to be what happens in a moment. We want to move slowly and just be aware of the body. Take the toes in. Woo. We'll step that knee out. I'm going to bring it in front. I invite you to take a different pose than one we usually take. So we're going to hop the right knee forward, drop the left leg out. And we're trying to have that right heel tucked in nice and close. And you might need the hands here to bring yourself seated comfortably on the floor. And have your left toes up. That might be enough, or you might be hinging forward a little bit. So this is a pretty intense stretch because you'll feel it in the front of that right thigh. You also feel it in lengthening out the back of that left leg. You want to work both your sit bones down towards the floor here. So you won't necessarily go that far, or maybe you do. And for a lot of us, just this movement forward, just this drawing and pushing the heel away, it's going to be enough of an intensity. Because because we've got asymmetry through the body. We've got the front of one leg and the back of the other being worked at the same time. It can be really disquieting for the mind to feel all these different sensations going on the legs. So knowing that there's a big psychological element to stretching, and that when we feel unfamiliar in a shape, particularly if you haven't done this pose before for a very long time, the body is probably creating that resistance and that fight. You travel slowly. And it's very possible to injure yourself while stretching. We have a tendency to paint things with a brush, make them good or bad. Foods are good or bad, certain activities are good or bad. And there's often such nuances. I think should inherently be demonized, but nothing should ever inherently have a halo either, because all things when done in excess or with the wrong intention can be potentially harmful. And sometimes the wrong things can work out for the best. It's very strange. And just observe. So much the process of this work with the body is observation, and then listening and applying intelligently, just a response instead of a reaction. As we attune ourselves, we work to that clarity and that perspective that comes with time. It comes with pausing and finding that little space between the stimulus and the response. That place of freedom. And we can let go. Resistance parts ways with us. We'll slowly come all the way up. Oh, you might want to free that right leg out. Yes, sometimes the joy is in not doing it anymore. Keep the legs a shake. Woo. Excellent. We get to do the other side. So we're going to jump all the way up and bring that right leg towards the wall. And there's usually one side that gives you a little bit more of a talking to as you take these practices. Bring that left leg up, press all the way up towards the wall, press back. Let's reset that stopwatch. So maybe this is your side that has extra sensation, or maybe this is your easy side. It's always good when you're on the easy side, but you'll be aware of what's happening in your body. Whatever it is, can you breathe? Can you be with it? Gently pressing back towards the wall, moving the right hip forward, using a firm positioning of that left foot. Spread the toes in the left foot, press down through the heel, and then press it back so you're moving the hips more into alignment. You might feel pulling in the back. You might feel that activation in through that inner column of the leg. Maybe you're feeling, this is where I particularly feel it right here, around the hip flexors. We might even feel it down to your knee. But we're working here. We're actively lengthening the muscles. And when we do that, we create both length and strength. So when you go to the gym, you shorten the muscles when you come through eccentric movement. But when we're in these lengthening motions that we do in stretching, we still build strength in the muscles, but we do so by laying the muscle fibers out nice and long, rather than growing more muscle fibers and bunching them up like you do at the gym when you're working out the muscles this way. So you're still getting a workout here. I'm always amazed at people when they first start doing yoga. They say to me, I'm so hungry after practice. And it's like, yeah, you're still working, just in a different way. Another few breaths here. The shoulder blades down, back, lift up that belly. And then great news, it's time to go down to the next stretch. So thinking of lengthening out, creating space in the back muscles, hands to the floor. Resetting the timer so we can go again. Just noticing the position of the knee and the ankle. Creating that space, dropping that back thigh bone down. That's why it's so hard without you here, yogis. I am missing you so much. All the conversation in the room that makes these moments pass more easily. Which is why taking those little self-care practices like lighting a candle, giving yourself some music, creating some nice scents around you, maybe some nice soft lighting in the room, and just fill in some of those spaces, those emptinesses that maybe not seeing each other bring. That's okay. We're still here. You know, we're always connected. And we'll explore more in new ways in coming days to build that connection. So many opportunities for growth. It does feel very quiet today. Stay with it and breathe. This is why I use the timer. It's so easy to cheat. My fickle mind says it's time. It's not time. Work a little deeper. An extra length of time just means the body can move into spaces it doesn't always have the opportunity to go. And new places to explore. Just bring that deep sense of curiosity to what's happening. Each time will be a little bit different. Another 2 breaths. This too shall pass. And we'll walk the leg out to the side. Turn the toes out. And maybe bring the forearms down. Now your body's going to give you a variation of the stretch that's right for you. So you're not trying to do what I'm doing. You're trying to do what is the right thing for your body. Everybody has different hips. And we need to talk a little bit about compression and tension in poses. So we can injure ourselves in stretching, and when we're in yoga practice, injury tends to happen around the 3 or 4 year mark. And that's because when you're initially coming to practice, you get these great gains because your body is in tension, and by stretching it, you move and you create that new space and you let go of that tension. So the range of motion in the body increases. But what happens is we want to keep going. So after year 1, we can do this with the leg, and then after year 2, the leg goes back. We want to think that one day the leg's going to come all the way around and like make a circle on itself, or maybe just completely rotate around like it's a windmill. Unfortunately, our body hits our body at some point, and that's compression. So tension is something that we can move through, is when we're creating that space, and it was something that will release over time in the practice. Compression is when you're stuck. And so when we hit the body and we've got joint on joint, or we've got 2 parts of the body coming into that shear force with each other, except there's no movement possible, that's when we can injure our body. So that sensitivity to what's happening in your body, that deeper awareness, becomes really important in preventing injury. You try and do what the person next to you is doing, and they have a different body to you, a different shape, a different structural components to their spine. Like we're all built slightly differently. Some just have longer legs than others, or longer second toes, or can curl our tongues. We are such interesting, diverse creatures. But if you're working with their body and not yours, that's when we try and press into a place where we might be in compression and we can injure. Great news. I talked long enough that that's over now. Slowly lift yourself up and move slowly for that rebound effect. Whoa. Now we're going to hop forward. So we're going to bring the right leg out. I'm going to have, as we sit down, that left heel right next to the bottom. And if you're having difficulty getting both your sit bones to the floor, and one side might be different than the other, you use a grounding point like the fingertips. You can sit up on a pillow or prop yourself up, or one side up on a towel. When I fall forward, notice if there's compression. So if I'm hitting belly and thigh and bones and bones and bones are coming down, and then there's that inability to move, I'm actually just creating force and that kind of grinding sensation in the body, so it's not any point going there. You can maintain range of motion, but once you've reached your maximum, then we sit with it. We just enjoy the practice for the release out of the tension in the body. And you'll notice if it's tension, if it's moving away. So when we come into a stretch and we are in tension, the stretch moves away. When we're in compression, the stretch moves back towards us. So if you think about as I lengthen down, I can feel that hamstring is releasing, I can feel the top of the quad. There'll be a point where I'm jamming it. It's like the pressure is coming back into my hips. And that means I've gone too far. I need to back out of the practice. I need to release ego and say, okay, body, that's where we stop. And that's where we sit. We get to work more with observation and pranayama and breath. Almost there, it is a pretty intense one. We'll slowly come all the way out. And just release out where we've constricted that blood flow and just shake the legs. Let's come down onto our backs for a moment because we're possibly feeling that little bit of tension that comes from releasing hamstrings and hips. So we'll come down, take a little spinal twist. So this one, I'm going to come to the side just so you can see what's happening to my legs. I'm going to lift my right leg up. I'm going to place my flexed right foot on my left knee. I'm going to hop my left knee over to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to pull my left knee over to the right with that right foot. My elbows are going to go out nice and wide. I'm going to travel my chin across. This might be it for you. I'm going to give you a variation that's one of my favourites, even though my body does look a little bit strange when I do it. If you take the right leg out, think of bringing it to 90-90. So you've got the knee aligned with the hip and then the heel aligned with the knee. And then, if you take an even juicier version, we're going to reach down with that left hand, grab a hold of the big toe, and then try and position the left knee out towards the front left-hand corner of your mat. So now you feel that stretch moving back into the top of the thigh that we've already begun to open up the stretch before. And you'll feel that external rotation, releasing tension from your right hip. Hands come out, chin drops down to that left side. And we'll add in that quality of time. Now I'm going to look away and hopefully you can still hear me. We are working on getting some better sound equipment, so it's a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable to hear the verbal instruction. Because we could be practicing in this fashion for a while. And that's okay, we'll make it work. Stretches are just a position that the body's been put in. And so often in life, it's just a position that we've been put in. And we find a way to respond, to minimise discomfort, and certainly to ensure we're not in pain. As we release resistance to it, we can enjoy being in it. We can enjoy just being in observation and finding the bits that are interesting in the experience. It's all learning. We train the physical body as we stretch. We train our awareness and our concentration to sit with it. We train the breath to be deep and nourishing for the body. We train the mind to let go of the fear of discomfort. So much of anxiety is simply thinking that we won't be able to deal with a situation when it arises. But if you look for evidence, you'll find that quite often you've been able to deal with just about anything that's come up. Research shows that whether you win the lottery or if you're in an accident and you end up with a serious injury, our base level of happiness tends to reset after about 6 months. That's because the perspective and the thought patterns that we bring to any situation, including this stretch, can really have a massive impact on how we perceive the situation. We really can control so much with this beautiful prefrontal cortex that we as sapiens have been blessed with. Alright, when you come out, you want to move this one slow. So we're going to draw the knee in, woo, release it out, and take a wiggle through those hips. I'm going to keep the legs in the air, just get that blood flow moving. And then I know you're very excited because it's time for that second side. So pop the foot down, both the feet down, we'll reposition the spine on the floor, and we'll pick the left leg up. I'm going to flex the left leg to keep the joint safe, and then press the left knee away. Think of a reclined pigeon pose. And balance up across the hips, and then hop your knee over towards the right. So if you're on your mat and you're lying, so you've got the narrow edge to your feet, you want your feet about the width of the mat. And we're going to use the left leg, like timber, to pull that right knee across. And that might be it for you. Elbows come out nice and wide, but just opening up the collarbone, releasing out the shoulders. And because the arms are usually dangling down all day, it's a nice little change for the body to have the arms upright. And that might be it. Or if you're looking for that more advanced version, left knee comes out. You don't have to go there. Remember, you're going to work with your body, not my body, or the body you had 10 years ago. I'm going to reach down with the right hand, hop, hop, hop in. And you're going to work with this side of the body too. So this side is my tighter side. It's not going to look anywhere near as pretty or be anywhere near as easy as the other side. But that's okay, because I know it's the side that needs it the most. So I'm going to be patient with it. I'm going to be kind. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to notice and observe what comes up. And if there becomes pain, I'm moving into compression. I'm going to come out of it. Just relax. Adding time. Let the mind get familiar with the shape. Working into those connective tissues, which is where 47% of the inflexibility of the body comes in. And because muscles are 30% fascia, then adding some of these long, passively held stretches, because they realign the fascial tissue in the direction of the stretch, like a little energetic charge. So if you think about my right knee moving out, it's just gently lengthening out all that dense weaving of connective tissue in the direction that I want it to go, instead of letting it get all wiggledy-piggledy and cross-adhered. And that can work to break down scar tissue, but we also need to balance it with yang practice, so we need to move through a flowing range of motion as well. And when they come into those range of motions, we break up adhesions and we begin to lubricate the joints. So movement helps get the synovial fluid going in the joint capsule, and that's important too to maintain range of motion. As I have so many different practices, sometimes we do Pilates, sometimes we do these deep stretches, we do yin yoga, which is so fabulous for the joints, so fabulous for the fascia, and we do our energizing flow like tomorrow morning, where we move through a range of motions. So each of the practices has its own gift that it can give you. One of the best gifts is the fact that movement particularly brings the mind out of its flightiness into the body. Alright, you get to come out now. You can slowly draw the knee in. Bring the feet down. Shake it out. Maybe bring those legs up and pump the blood through. Whew. And then we're going to come all the way up. So you can tuck the chin in, keep yourself nice and relaxed in the back. Slowly, slowly roll up. And we'll take a little drop down to the elbows. So I like to do this with the yoga blocks, but if you don't have yoga blocks, we're going to take the variation called fish pose. But if you do this one at home with blocks, you can prop up the spine, so you can just relax into it and take it for longer. This is a little bit more energetic because it's a back bend. As we inhale, press down to the heels. Don't mind me yawning. It's a response of the vagus nerve. Doesn't mean I'm being rude. Lift up and then drop down. Yawning can actually be very relaxing. It draws more energy into the body. So if you're yawning, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're tired. It's a really good way for the body to get more air down in and just to release out stress sometimes. Sometimes you need that little bit of work with the breath. And the body will intuitively just take it if we don't offer it. So pressing down to the elbows, you can press the palms into the floor, lift, lift, lift up. Notice if you're dumping into the neck. So, you're going to move carefully with that cervical spine. It's a fragile little creature. Press the elbows down. It's the most flexible part of your spine, so we have such a tendency to try and overutilize it. Maybe you can bring the head up and look down towards your toes. As long as you move really sensitively, please don't yank your neck around. And for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll come up nice and slow. So we'll use the hands to lift us up. You might want to just take a few movements here to release out the neck. So take a few slow circles. Particularly if you went a little bit too enthusiastic with that fish pose. And the other way. Move the shoulders a little bit. Let's get some of that synovial fluid going on. Shake it loose. And the other way. Now, no one's going to look at me like this is a gift. And yet, because we aren't doing our hot classes, it's probably a really good idea to come and visit something like half locus, because half locus is a pose that we tend to only do in yoga and not very much in everyday life, and it has so much benefit for the back. So let's come all the way down to the floor. The great news is we don't have to hold it for long. So come all the way down to the floor. I hope you can see my legs here. You'll get the idea in a moment. I'm going to roll over. Just bring the left hand underneath. So you've got the palm down the floor. Trying to get the elbow into the navel. I'll bring the right hand down. I'll bring the pinky fingers into touch. We'll drop the head to the floor. Alright, I'm going to work with the right leg first. I'm going to lift it up to 45 degrees. So the right leg's going to come up, and then I'm going to melt the right hip bone down and massage it into that right forearm. As I spread the fingers, this is really good for the wrists, really good for the forearms. I've got my chin on the mat, so my neck's long. And I'm trying to get that back foot and think of it 45 degrees extension as well as height. I know it's hard to hear me, but it's an awkward position to talk in, particularly when you're sideways to try and demonstrate the pose. So bear with me, everyone. Remember to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release that down. Woo. And jump straight into the second side before you lose courage. So lift the left leg up, press it up, drop the left hip bone down, and then find that extension at that length. Notice what's happening to the back of the neck. Press the palms to the floor. Let the breath travel up and down the spine. And can you just be noticing if there's any changes in the body? You can hear in my breath that this is very challenging a pose. Keep spreading those hands down. And keep dropping that left hip bone into the forearm. Reach. 3, 2, 1. Drop it down. Let the hands come out. We roll those wrists. And then come up. And we'll skip our third variation with both legs, because there's lots of things I'm willing to do on camera, but that one is probably not it. Okay, let's bring the legs out in front. And we'll come into a little seated forward fold. So after back bending, we need to balance up the forward folding. So this is where we're going to work with compression, and this is intention. So if you're a very practiced yogi and you're like, I can get all the way down, this is where potentially we can actually create stress in the hamstring if you push beyond the natural positioning of your bones. So for someone like me who used to do a lot of forward folding and be like, after a couple of years I can get my head into crazy spaces, continuing to do that and trying to move beyond what is the natural ability of the body to go there, my body, which is different to everybody else's body, means that I can create strain and injury in those hamstrings. And it's certainly something that I've done in the past. So please bear with me when I say be mindful of what's happening. And you don't need to go to 1,000% unless you're working to be a contortionist, and in which case you're going to have your own practice. But I'm going to assume that I'm not training any contortionists. I'm just going to assume that I'm training some people that want to relax and release their body in a way that's really kind and means that they could have a sustained practice. Sometimes when we come into those extremes, then we put strain on the body that isn't something that we can maintain for a long period of time.
So even though there's a joy to being able to do very impressive things, and the human body has immense capacity, we need to work again with that sensitivity and awareness that this is as much a mental journey and an emotional journey as a physical journey. And if we want to keep coming back and getting the benefits of the practice in those ways, we have to do it in a way that's safe, that we can maintain. And it's the same thing with stretching. You've never done either. Like your car, you need to keep filling up the fuel. It's not something that you can do once. You've got to keep servicing the body. So to maintain our range of motion, even though we'll get benefits that will set our tissues into new spaces, and it certainly does become easier because we've created those neurological pathways in the mind to be able to move into those positions. If we don't keep them fresh, if we don't like a driveway with snow, you can like shovel it out. And every time you shovel it, you kind of maintain that clearness, that place where the body can go mentally and physically. But then it snows again. You can do it again. If you don't consistently keep doing it, you just get that build up and go back to having that loss of range of motion. So the whole point of all that talking was to make you not think about what's happening in your body sometimes. So we listen, we attend, and then sometimes we just need to let the mind have a little bit of freedom so we can get out of the way. We can get rid of that mental resistance to allow the physical body to move into the space that it's naturally capable of. But we also don't push the physical body beyond its capacity. When you're ready, you'll slowly press all the way out. Quick little seated twist to release out the spine. We'll bring the right leg over the top and bring the left leg around if that's available to you. Otherwise, you have your left leg out nice and straight. You want to get a nice anchored point through the sit bone and press down to the right big toe. See how we're doing for time. There's always so many stretches to do. Bring the right hand behind, use the left hand, hug yourself in, take the gaze back over your right shoulder. At the same time, with the crown of the head up to the sky and press down to the big toe. So we're going to turn and rotate and broaden out across the collarbones. Two more breaths. Each exhale, can you empty a little bit more air from the belly? And then you can go a little bit deeper, moving from the navel. Instead of keeping all the breath in the belly and trying to move from the neck, which is not going to help. It's going to move you into compression, not releases of tension. Come all the way out. Let's swap it over. This time with compression is good. When you get a massage, it's compression, but it's a different kind. We're going to put in. And that's what we're going to do in our roll and relax class tomorrow. We use the foam roller to work with compression, bring the hand around. Those kind of compressions are just not bone-to-bone compression. But when we are compressing the muscle with that mindful, slow, kind of almost palpations that we use the roll for, or sometimes we're flushing out the body. Just keep twisting as we draw the belly, nice and free of the breath, so there's more space to move into. Yeah, so when we move into the soft tissues, that's okay. They've got the give, they've got the flexibility. We use the roller to break up more of those fascial adhesions that we start working on with stretching. But there's not that flexibility in the bones. So we can't work with compression there. Turn it all the way around. Again, it's neither good nor bad. We don't demonize or highlight or make anything for a halo. We just look at the situation, we observe, and we respond intelligently. Come all the way back. So many beautiful poses to do. Let's come into a pigeon pose. So we'll swing the legs around. We'll take the right knee in front. So the right knee is going to come in front, and then we'll take the toes out to the side and lower down the back leg. Now, depending on your body, you might need to have that left leg out to the side, but we're going to fold to the center. We'll start up right in the back then first. I'm going to turn to the side maybe, just so I can still look at you. So we'll start by walking the hands up, and the closer we walk them into the back, the more you're going to feel that bend into the back. But again, I need to be mindful. So because there's a lot of flexibility in that low spine for me, I can compress down into the vertebra too. So just because I can go into crazy shapes with my back doesn't mean I should. And the wisdom of trying to respond to that teaching is much harder because we want to go there, we want to explore, we want to feel what's possible. I'm going to come all the way down now. I want to hold and sink into this one. So drop down. We're working with pulling that right hip back slightly, moving the hip into abduction, and then lengthening out. So the time goes time. Yay, technology. In the future, all problems will be solved by technology. In the future, all problems will be caused by technology. There's problems caused by technology right now. I'm going to give you a variation here. I'm just going to bring a twist into the upper body since we took a twist into the lower body. And to do that, we're going to take the left hand across. You can see I'm moving my left shoulder down. I'm going to drop my left ear down and bring my right hand up and over. And that can just rest it here in the sacrum, or I can reach around and grab a big toe. And then I can use it as a leverage point. I want to keep pulling that right hip back and keep anchoring down to the inner tip of my left knee. Roll open through the rib cage here. Slow the breath down, and can you let the floor take over the weight of your bones? Keep breathing. I'm monitoring the time. All you need to do is monitor the sensations. And just shake it loose. Ready for that second side. I'll draw the left knee forward, open the heel out to the side, take the right leg back. And we're starting in that back bend and we're moving with the sensitivity. So we're going to come up, come up, come up. And just notice though where the stretch is moving. Is it a crunching sensation or is it a sensation of lengthening? And just keeping anchored down through that right hip, that left hip moving out to the side so we can work into that the glute area, into hip flexors, and come all the way down, nice and slow. And I'll work with the timer here again, just to make sure we're balancing up the sides of the body. So you might be simply dropping yourself down to the floor, or maybe you're up somewhere on the way. Thinking of a long spine though, so there's space and we're creating that lengthening out, particularly if you've been in a chair and you've been rounding to the back, what we call slumpasana. It happens and that's okay, it's very difficult to keep the abdominals engaged all day. We need to create a balance and lengthen it back out again. Let's go into that twist if that's your practice today. I'm going to start that little timer up. So we'll take the right hand out, we'll lift over, grab a hold with the left hand to the big toe, roll open. Notice if the tip of the right knee is coming up. Notice if you're turning out, a bit like Cousin It here, hair all over the face. Rolling the left shoulder onto the back.
then you just let go. That's a real gift. And so often we're working hard or efforting, and you'll feel resistance. There'll be parts of you that won't want to let go. That's true in so many different layers of our beings, mental, energetic, and physical. And sometimes over time we can let go and we can surrender them, and that's great. And sometimes they're persistent, and we learn to work with them until all the time arises when they naturally are ready to release. It's like a flower. Can't force a flower to bloom. And no matter how much we wish it, day will become night and night will become day. It will do it in its own time and fashion. So we try and resist, we try and impose upon that natural rhythm of things, then we can create quite a lot of unnecessary tension in ourselves. It's a lovely saying, it's like teaching a pig to sing. It won't work, and it just annoys the pig. Work with the exhale. That's where the softness lies. And breathe out a little bit more. Maybe sigh. Being audible actually helps you let go. Think of chanting and singing and all those practices we do where we vocalize, or even we can create energy and effort with it. Think of a tennis player. Just the way we use the voice. It's just another tool. So bring the hand down, slowly roll, roll, roll. And swing the legs out in front. Shake it loose. So we're going to have a hold of that strap now, or that belt, or whatever it is that you have. And don't worry if my voice goes a little bit funny. That tends to happen when you're lying upside down. I might lift up a little bit to the neck. Maybe that will help. We'll come all the way down to the floor. Oh no, I said I would give you the variation with the wall. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go into that wall. I hate to make a liar out of me. So, you're going to need some wall space to do this. So if you've got some pretty yoga props, just start moving out of the way, okay? Try not to set yourself on fire with any of those candles I told you to light. Bring the legs all the way up the wall. And then one leg's going to come out to the side, and the other leg's going to stay up. So you're going to make an L shape. I'm sorry, it's hard to talk, so this one's going to be pretty quiet, otherwise I'm going to end up breaking my neck. And that will mean I can't do yoga with you. So let's not do that. I'm going to reposition the body in the centre, and your leg might be a little bit off, and that's okay. But you can see that there's an increase in the angles of the hip. The left leg is up, we've got the left leg in line with the left hip, hopefully. We've got the right leg on the floor, so we're releasing out the inner thigh. And the great thing about using the wall or a strap is that it does the work and we get to relax. Now if you want a little bit more, and I'm a big fan of optimizing everything, right hand comes up, comes behind the head, and then you're going to get a little tricep release too, as long as the neck's not being pulled on. You're going to bring the left hand underneath, get the fingertips in, and as long as you can roll back onto the back, you can have a little Guman stretch as well. It's just bringing the shoulders into internal and external rotation. I'm sorry, I don't know what the sound is like here, but we'll just work with it. That's it. Try and be still. Fight the urge to fidget, she says as she fidgets. time watching the time. You soften the shoulders. With that quality of inversion, just boost the lymphatic drainage and blood flow in the leg. And we'll come out, we'll move sensitively. So you might really feel that rebound effect as you release the arms out. You want to work with the core so we're not going to strain the back. We're going to take the right leg all the way up. And again, depending on where you are in the room, like me, you might need to lift up and reposition so you're not going to kick over any of the furniture. Depends how much wall space you've got in your house. When we're coming to bring the legs back up the wall, one of the best ways to come in without hurting your neck is you get the hips against the wall. We're going to use the shoulders though. We want to base. So I can roll over the shoulders. And then I'm not coming into any weird pressure on my neck. And take the left leg all the way down, kick the right leg up, reposition the body, give yourself a moment or two, and then we'll set up to add that variation to the arms. So the right hand up before and the left hand down, just simply swap it over. Left hand comes behind the head, and then the thumb's reaching down like it's scratching the space between your shoulder blades. Just drop the left shoulder though. Right hand comes in. I'm going to start the timer because I won't be able to see it. So we go up, reach in, and drop down. And just loosen up and breathe. Interesting sounds. You come back into stillness. Sometimes it's the mind that's the fidgety bit. And come out, move slowly, release the arms. You can just slowly slide that leg down the wall and come all the way over. Oh, beautiful. After that, let's take a child's pose. So you can do two options for this one. You can take the knees out nice and wide, bring the hips back down to the heels, reach the hands out, bring the head to the floor. Or you can have the legs in, and maybe you want a pillow, and that's an option as well. Just let yourself come all the way down and relax. And you want to broaden out those elbows, so we're just using that opening of the chest in a different fashion. We'll be here for a while, so just now releasing the spine in a different way, lengthening out. I'm going to say so before we brought compression in, but the right kind of, I'm going to have to get careful with how I use the word compression when I say these things. So we brought gentle compression, not forcing compression into the back. A little bit of compression isn't bad. A little bit of stress actually helps stimulate growth. The physical body, when we work the muscles, you actually create micro tears, and then it's the reparation, the recovery and the healing of those muscles that make them stronger.
A little bit of stress, a little bit of compression into the joints helps build the bone density, helps stimulate those natural building blocks of the body to lay down new bone tissue. We're balancing it up too. But forced compression, too much stress, too much of anything, can often have negative side effects. Press up. Alright, I'm going to swing around. This is going to be the most important part of the practice. So you're going to swing all the way down and around onto your back, and we are going to relax. I've got 5 minutes here. This is the part of the practice that people always want to skip. And yet it's the most important part, because these moments of softness and this moment of recovery and repair. Remember, the most important part of any training program is that recovery period, that period of rest so the body can actually make good on all the work that you've done, where it can lay down and use the gentle stresses on the body to make it stronger. So it's really important. You can take something under the knees, you can take a pillow, you've got the towel, you can bring it under the low back. Anything that's going to allow you to get really relaxed here. You can open the arms out, it just externally rotates the shoulders to relax them, the heels come out so the toes could drop out to release the knees and the inner thighs. Take a nice broadening across the sacrum with the breath. Too much on the low back, bend the knees and heels in. And you are getting ready to let go. So for this part of the practice, I'm actually going to sit up because it's so relaxing doing this. I'm worried that I'll fall asleep here. But I am inviting you to close down those eyes. Don't worry, I'll let you know when it's time to come up. Your job is to simply get soft. Think of spaghetti that's been boiled too long and how it goes all loose and floppy. And that is your body, that overcooked spaghetti just slopping down to the earth. And all the muscles, like those long strands of pasta, just heavy. You know, if you picked it up, it would move in any direction. All the rigidity, all the tension from those tight spaghetti strands that you put into the boiling water have now been softened. You know that we can do that with our tappers, our inner fire, our ujjayi breath. We can do it with the fire of discipline. And sometimes discipline is not about being hard on yourself. Sometimes the greatest discipline is in softness and kindness. All things in balance, nothing right or wrong. It's like day and night complement each other. Inhale to exhale. And strength and kindness. And those two entirely necessary and not necessarily oppositional, but they work in synchronicity. They balance each other, having different properties. time the body will continue to sink into the floor like it were a pillow. I said I was going to sit up. It's so relaxing here. Just let everything continue to cascade into the floor. Think of your body turning into water now, that overcooked soggy spaghetti now just leaking and spreading across the earth, a big puddle of the physical form. Breathe into its edges. So each inhale is a little bit more expansive, and that puddle that is your physical body just spreads a little wider. And each exhale, coming back to the awareness of the form and the breath. Stay down. Stay with breath. Continue to watch the time and hold the space for you. Your only job is to let the breath move in and move out. In that exchange, that rhythmic flow. Even more exchanges of breath in and out, in and out. And when you're ready, just stir your fingers and toes, wake your body up. And the rest of your evening awaits you, whether that involves dinner or some time spent with family or some time that you are just going to nourish yourself and recharge your batteries. Continue to bring that quality of softness to the rest of your evening. I will see you at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, yogis, if you're ready to get up and fire up with me. Or I'll see you in coming days. You have a roll and relax. So if you have a foam roller, we're going to get an opportunity to use it tomorrow afternoon. So break that one out and grab a mat for, I believe that's at 4 p.m. And if not, keep watching the flow. We'll have more and more videos for you. Keep connected, yogis. Keep practicing. Namaste.